With the weather heating up, no doubt many of you out there are thinking about your holidays, and if you're like me, you're wondering which camera you'll have by your side. In February 2018, Panasonic introduced the GX9 to sit in the middle of its range as what it called a premium street photography camera. With its small body size and flat rangefinder type design, it's also ideally suited as a travel camera, especially if you already own another Micro Four Thirds camera. The GX9 follows on from, but doesn't replace, the GX8, being smaller in size and closer in form factor to the entry-level GX800 camera. Inside the GX9 is a 20.3 megapixel 4/3 sensor without an anti-aliasing filter for increased detail resolution. It has a host of other appealing specifications as well, including a high-resolution tilting viewfinder, a tilting touch-sensitive LCD screen, 4K photo and video modes, and it's compatible with the huge range of Micro Four Thirds lenses. Panasonic enjoyed great success with the GX7, with many appreciating its small size and weight. For some reason, Panasonic decided to make the GX8 much bulkier, and while it was a very good camera, its form factor never really struck a chord with me. Fortunately, Panasonic has decided to go back to the smaller body size with the GX9, and I have to say I'm very pleased with that decision. For me, when I'm looking for a traveler street-style camera, I want it to be as small and discreet as possible. Not only is the GX9 small and light, it's also got an attractive leather-type coating on the outside, plus an indent on the grip on which your fingers can sit very comfortably. Overall, it's got a high-quality appearance and feel, and it looks very smart and stylish. Naturally, in order to keep the size down, there have been a few changes that were made. One of the most obvious is that the GX9 now has a tilting rather than a fully articulating screen. Now, several years ago, talk of tilting touchscreens might have caused tripod fights at your local camera club, but these days we're all a bit more relaxed about this feature, and we realize its true potential. For me, I actually prefer tilting screens for cameras like this, where being discreet is key. However, it is much less useful when shooting portrait format images from awkward angles. Nevertheless, the touchscreen here on the GX9 is very responsive. I use it predominantly to set the autofocus point, which you can continue to do while looking through the viewfinder, but it's also available when you're scrolling through images in playback or changing the menu settings. Despite the GX9's small size, it does have plenty of dials and buttons which give you direct access to a wide range of commonly used functions. For instance, there's a large exposure compensation dial that sits underneath a smaller mode dial. Both of these are easily reached by your thumb for making quick changes on the go. Just in front of these dials is a multi-purpose dial which can be used for altering various settings depending on the shooting mode that you're in. For example, if I'm in aperture priority mode, it will control the aperture. The dial also houses the camera's shutter release. The GX9's 20.3 million pixel sensor is capable of resolving very fine detail, while colors are lovely and vibrant. As we've come to expect from 4/3 sensors, it copes best when light levels are good. In low light, shooting at high sensitivities reveals a loss of detail which is particularly noticeable when you examine your images at 100%. While the overall impression of detail is reasonable if you stick to ISO 3200 or below, you can expect to see a little smoothing at times. Looking at the corresponding RAW file, it's fair to say that the camera does apply a fairly significant amount of image smoothing when shooting at high ISOs. RAW files reveal both chroma and luminance noise, but a little more detail. It's therefore recommended with the GX9 that you shoot in RAW and apply your own noise reduction to get the best balance of detail and noise when photographing certain subjects. The camera's all-purpose metering system does a great job to produce balanced exposures in the majority of conditions, while the automatic white balance system tends to reproduce roughly accurate colors in most situations. When shooting in artificial light, the tendency is for the auto white balance to err towards warmer yellowish tones. Switching to a more appropriate white balance setting helps to compensate for this. Or you can shoot in RAW format and alter the effect in post-production. The GX9 uses the same autofocusing system as the GX8, meaning you have a 49 area contrast detection system, boasting speeds of just 0.07 seconds. In use so far, I found it to be very quick and responsive, locking onto the subject with relative ease. Unlike the G9, the GX9 is not really designed to be an action or sports camera. While it is reasonably capable of following predictably moving subjects, using 4K photo is my preferred choice when trying to capture split-second moments. I like to have a camera with me pretty much at all times, but I don't like to carry around anything that's too heavy or bulky, so for me, the GX9 is the perfect travel and street camera. It's compatible with a wide range of lenses if I need them, but it's also small enough to fit in a small bag, or even a reasonably large jacket pocket. The look of the camera is also very stylish, without attracting too much attention when using it out and about, which is very ideal. There's also a good mixture of buttons and dials on the camera, while the tilting screen is very handy for composing from awkward angles. I'm personally not too bothered about articulation for a camera like this. Others may feel differently though. Overall, image quality is very good, particularly in good or bright light. In lower light, watch out for a little loss of detail in places and try to stick to as wide an aperture as possible. Colors are nicely reproduced, being natural while also vibrant, while focusing is generally quick and accurate. While the GX9 may not be the most exciting camera announcement of 2018, it's arguably one that's going to be very popular for Panasonic. This is a camera that you can have a lot of fun with and get lots of nice images, and you don't even notice it's there.